His father's hands hover in the air, trembling. Jacob stands frozen, goat skin wrapped around his arms, his brother's clothes clinging to his back. The smell of the wilderness fills the tent. Isaac's blind eyes search the darkness. His voice cracks. "Who are you, my son?" Jacob's heart hammers against his ribs. Every fear he's ever carried, every wound of being overlooked, every desperate need to be seen, it all crashes into this single moment. His throat tightens. The lie sits on his tongue like poison. He whispers, "I am Esau." The words fall like stones into water. Isaac's face softens. He reaches forward. Jacob feels his father's fingers on the goat fur, testing, questioning. The silence stretches until it screams. But something shifts in the tent. Something ancient. Something that cannot be undone. The blessing he's about to steal will open a door he's not ready to walk through. And once that door swings open, there's no going back. Welcome to our channel. Please like and subscribe for more uncovering of hidden truths from history and scriptural tells. Years earlier, two boys played in the dust outside their father's tents. One was loud, wild, laughing as he wrestled with the goats. The other sat quietly by the fire, watching, always watching. Esau was everything a father could want. Strong, bold, covered in reddish hair like a young lion. When he returned from the fields with game slung over his shoulders, Isaac's eyes lit up. Jacob saw it. Every time. He was different. Smooth-skinned. Thoughtful. He preferred the safety of the tents, the company of his mother, the rhythm of cooking and tending. And for that, he felt invisible. What do you do when the world celebrates someone else for being everything you're not? Rebekah would pull him close, whispering, "You are special too." But Jacob watched his father's gaze always drift toward Esau. Toward the son who fit the mold. The seed was planted then. Favoritism. Comparison. Resentment. And those seeds always grow into storms. One afternoon, everything shifted. Esau stumbled back from the hunt, exhausted, drenched in sweat. His face was hollow with hunger. Jacob stirred a pot of red lentil stew by the fire, steam rising between them. "Give me some of that," Esau gasped. "I'm dying." Jacob paused. For the first time, he held something his brother wanted. He looked up slowly. "Sell me your birthright. Right now." Esau laughed bitterly. "What good is a birthright if I'm dead?" He waved his hand carelessly. "Fine. Take it." No ceremony. No witnesses. Just two brothers and a bowl of stew. Jacob watched Esau eat, licking the bowl clean, wiping his mouth, walking away like nothing had happened. But something had happened. Jacob learned that destiny could be bent. That the future wasn't fixed. That the overlooked could rise. He didn't know it yet, but heaven was watching that trade. And heaven was taking notes. That night, Rebekah pulled Jacob into her tent. Shadows danced on the walls as she spoke in a hushed, urgent voice. "Before you and your brother were born," she whispered, "I felt you both fighting inside me. I cried out to God, and he answered." Her eyes burned with intensity. He said, "Two nations are in your womb. The older will serve the younger." Jacob stared at her, confused. Then why does father love him more? Thunder rumbled in the distance. The air felt heavy, charged, like something unseen was pressing in. Rebekah gripped his hands. "Because your father sees with his eyes. But God sees something else." She leaned closer. "You are chosen, Jacob. Chosen." The word hung in the air. Chosen. It sounded like a blessing. But Jacob felt the weight of it settle on his shoulders like a stone. Chosen people, he would learn, don't get easy lives. Chosen people attract danger. Years passed. Isaac grew old, his eyes dim, his body frail. He knew death was near. One morning, he called Esau to his tent privately. "My son," Isaac said, his voice weak but determined, "go out to the field. Hunt for me. Prepare the wild game I love. Bring it to me, and I will bless you before I die." Esau's heart swelled. This was it. The moment he was born for. The blessing of the firstborn. He grabbed his bow and disappeared into the wilderness. But behind the tent curtain, someone was listening. Rebekah's breath caught in her throat. Her pulse quickened. The blessing, the one meant for Jacob according to prophecy, was about to be given to the wrong son. Her mind raced. Panic. Calculation. Desperation. She had heard God's promise. She believed it with every fiber of her being. And sometimes, belief makes people do dangerous things. Rebekah found Jacob by the well. She grabbed his shoulders, her grip fierce. "Listen carefully. Do exactly as I say. What? What's happening? Your father is about to bless Esau. Today. Now. Her words came fast, breathless. But the blessing is yours. God said so. We have to act. Jacob's stomach dropped. Mother, no. If father finds out. He won't. Her eyes were wild with certainty. You'll disguise yourself as Esau. I'll prepare the meal. You'll bring it to him. Jacob stepped back, shaking his head. He'll touch me. He'll know I'm not Esau. He'll curse me. Rebekah pulled him close, her voice dropping to a fierce whisper, let the curse fall on me. The words chilled him. She believed in this plan with the kind of faith that burns through doubt. The kind that risks everything. Jacob stared at her. Then, slowly, he nodded. The trap was set. But traps catch more than their intended target. Rebekah moved quickly, slaughtering 2 young goats, seasoning the meat the way Isaac loved. The smell filled the tent, savory, rich, exactly like Esau's wild game. Then came the disguise. She took the skins of the goats, still warm, and wrapped them around Jacob's arms and neck. The coarse hair scratched his skin. She dressed him in Esau's clothes, his best garments, reeking of sweat, dust, and open sky. Jacob looked down at himself. His hands weren't his own. His scent wasn't his own. He no longer knew who he was. Rebekah stepped back, studying him. You're ready. Jacob's legs felt like water. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst through his chest. What if he knows? She placed the tray of food in his trembling hands. Then we trust God. Jacob turned toward his father's tent. Every step felt like walking toward the edge of a cliff. And once you step off a cliff, there's no climbing back up. Jacob pushed through the tent flap. The air inside was thick, dim. Isaac lay on his bed, his blind eyes staring at nothing. My father, Jacob said, his voice barely steady. Who is it, my son? Isaac's head turned, confused. Jacob swallowed. I am Esau, your firstborn. I've done as you asked. Sit up and eat, so you may bless me. Isaac frowned. How did you find it so quickly? The Lord your God gave me success. Isaac's face tightened. Come closer. Let me touch you. Jacob's breath stopped. He stepped forward. Isaac's hands reached out, trembling, searching. His fingers found Jacob's arms, felt the hair, rough and thick. The voice is Jacob's, Isaac whispered, suspicion creeping into his tone. But the hands are Esau's. Silence. Breath. Jacob stood frozen, waiting for the curse to fall. Then Isaac nodded slowly. Bring me the food. The meal was eaten. The blessing ceremony began. But outside, footsteps approached the camp. Isaac placed his shaking hands on Jacob's head. The moment stretched into eternity. Then the words came, ancient, powerful, irreversible. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness. May nations serve you. May peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed. The word struck Jacob like thunder. Beautiful and terrifying. Holy and heavy. He had wanted this his whole life. But now, feeling the weight of it settle on him, he realized he had no idea what he'd just taken. Isaac lowered his hands, exhausted. Go now, my son. Jacob backed out of the tent, his legs weak. The tray slipped from his hands and clattered to the ground. He stumbled into the open air, gasping. The world looked different. The sky seemed too vast. The ground too unstable. He had the blessing. But something else had just been set in motion. And then, from the edge of camp, he heard it, Esau's voice, calling for his father. Esau burst into Isaac's tent, grinning, carrying a platter of fresh meat. Father, sit up. Eat the game your son has brought, so you may bless me. Isaac's body went rigid. Who are you? Esau laughed, confused. I'm Esau, your firstborn. Isaac's face drained of color. His hands began to shake violently. Then who was just here? The air turned to ice. Esau's smile vanished. What do you mean, who was just here? Isaac's voice cracked. Someone came, pretending to be you, and I blessed him. The world stopped spinning. Esau's eyes widened. Then his face twisted in agony. He let out a scream, raw, guttural, a sound that tore through the camp and echoed across the fields. Bless me too, father. Isaac wept. I cannot. The blessing is given. It cannot be undone. Esau collapsed, his whole body shaking. Do you have only one blessing? Bless me too. But the words had already been spoken. And in the ancient world, words were power. Once released, they could not be recalled. Esau's anguish quickly curdled into something darker, vengeance. That night, Esau sat alone by a dying fire, his jaw clenched, his fists tight. After father dies, he muttered to himself, I will kill Jacob. He repeated it like a vow. His eyes burned with betrayal, rage, and grief all twisted together. Nearby, hidden in the shadows, Rebekah overheard. Her heart seized. She had orchestrated the deception, but she hadn't anticipated this, her sons destroying each other. She ran to Jacob's tent, breathless. Esau is planning to kill you. You have to leave. Tonight. Jacob's face went pale. Where do I go? To my brother Laban, in Haran. Stay there until Esau's anger cools. Jacob's world collapsed. Everything he ever wanted now cost him everything he ever had. What have I done? He whispered. Rebekah's voice broke. Go, or you won't live to see morning. Jacob packed in the dark, hands shaking. No goodbyes. No blessing from his father for the journey. Just the weight of a stolen destiny and the sound of his mother weeping as he disappeared into the night. Jacob walked alone through the wilderness. No servants. No protection. Just the clothes on his back and the crushing silence. Days blurred together. The sun scorched him. The nights froze him. Every shadow looked like Esau. Every sound felt like danger. He had wanted to be seen his whole life. Now, he was utterly invisible. Forgotten. Abandoned. I manipulated my way into a blessing, he whispered to the empty desert, and lost everything. The irony was suffocating. He thought about his mother's face. His father's trembling hands. Esau's scream. The lies. The disguise. The moment he stopped being himself and became someone else. And for what? A blessing he couldn't even feel yet. Jacob collapsed under a tree, his body racked with sobs. The guilt, the fear, the loneliness, it all broke open. He had nothing left. But sometimes, when you have nothing left, that's when heaven draws near. As the sun set, Jacob found a desolate place, just rocks and dust. No shelter. No fire. Nothing. He picked up a stone, placed it under his head as a pillow, and lay down under the vast, indifferent sky. Sleep came slowly, heavy with exhaustion and regret. Then he dreamed. A stairway appeared, planted on the earth but stretching impossibly high, up, up, up into the heavens. Angels moved along it, ascending and descending, their faces glowing. And at the top, a voice. A voice that shook the fabric of existence. I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and Isaac. The land you're lying on, I will give to you and your descendants. I am with you. I will watch over you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you. Jacob's eyes shot open. He sat up, gasping, trembling. God was in this place, and I didn't know it. His heart pounded. Not with fear. With awe. Jacob stood and looked around at the barren rocks, the empty desert. This place, forgotten, isolated, overlooked, was holy ground. He took the stone he had used as a pillow and set it upright as a memorial. He poured oil over it, consecrating it. If God will be with me, Jacob vowed, his voice shaking, if he will protect me and bring me back safely, then the Lord will be my God. It wasn't a perfect prayer. It was conditional. Uncertain. Still wrestling. But it was real. Jacob realized something profound. God hadn't appeared because Jacob deserved it. God appeared because God chose to. The blessing Jacob stole was becoming the blessing God was shaping him to carry. But it would require transformation. He had spent his life trying to become someone else. Now, God was calling him to become who he truly was. The journey ahead would be long. Painful. Full of wrestling, with others, with himself, and eventually, with God himself. But this was the beginning. Jacob continued his journey with a strange new weight on his shoulders, not the burden of guilt alone, but the burden of calling. He had stolen a blessing. But now that blessing was pursuing him. He realized something terrifying. Destiny doesn't care how you arrive. It only cares that you show up. The blessing was too big for him. Too heavy. Too holy. I stole this, he whispered to the wind. Why does God still call me? No answer came. Just the relentless desert sun and the endless road ahead. But slowly, deep in his spirit, something began to shift. Regret started to crack open into something else. Not pride, but humility. Not confidence, but dependence. Jacob was being broken down. And in that breaking, something new was being built. The man who left home was a deceiver. The man who would return would be Israel, one who wrestles with God and prevails. But that transformation was still years away. For now, he simply walked. One step. Then another. Toward an unknown future. Let's pause and see the full picture. God didn't choose Jacob because he was good. God chose him despite his brokenness. Despite his manipulation. Despite his lies. Jacob spent his whole life feeling like he had to earn his place. So he schemed. He tricked. He wore someone else's skin to get what he thought he deserved. But God's blessing was never about worthiness. It was about purpose. Jacob's story is a mirror. How many of us have tried to force doors open? How many of us have manipulated, lied, or pretended to be someone we're not just to feel seen? And yet, even in our mess, God doesn't abandon us. He meets us in the wilderness. He speaks in dreams. He makes promises we don't deserve. Jacob would go on to wrestle with an angel, father 12 sons, and become the patriarch of an entire nation. Not because he was perfect, but because God's grace is greater than our mistakes. From Jacob came 12 sons. From those sons came 12 tribes. From those tribes came a nation, Israel. From that nation came kings, prophets, and poets. And from that lineage, thousands of years later, came a savior. One stolen blessing. One broken family. One desperate mother and one overlooked son. It should have been a disaster. It was a disaster. But God took the shattered pieces and built something eternal. That's the mystery of grace. It doesn't wait for us to get it right. It works in the mess. It transforms the broken. It redeems the stolen. Jacob's story isn't a blueprint for deception. It's a testimony that even our worst moments can't disqualify us from God's purpose. The blessing Jacob stole became the blessing that shaped a nation. The trick that broke a family became the thread that wove a people together. Because destiny doesn't always begin in palaces or temples. Sometimes, it begins in a tent, with trembling hands, and a lie that heaven somehow turns into truth. 6 lessons from the stolen blessing. Feeling unseen doesn't mean you are unloved. God works in silence too. Manipulation may get you what you want, but it will cost what you need. Even broken people have a place in God's story. Favoritism destroys families, blessing restores them. Running from consequences can still lead you into purpose. God's plan is stronger than your mistakes. Always.